Cool. I guess. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Om Hint.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Radhe Radhe. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. So, um, we're going to do this is our live on YouTube, and we're going to try and do a daily update for today, which is the 22nd of July, 2019. So, right now, and for the foreseeable rest of the day, it's another like 10 hours or more. It's going to be Uttara Bhadra Nakshatra or star constellation that the moon is sitting next to. And the Tithi or lunar day is going to be Shashti, which is the sixth lunar day. So there's a lot of things about Uttara Bhadra, and we're very fortunate because we happen to have someone with the moon in Uttara Bhadra. So
I'm getting on my phone so that I can watch this live. Have it going on my phone. So
yeah.
bear with me, y'all. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So Shasti is ruled over. You can tell a lot by the deities which rule over signs. So Shasti is ruled over by Kartikeya, who happens to be the lord of. He's like the war deity, and he's very powerful. And he kind of he's in charge of running the armies of the devas, right? So the thing is that Shasti is kind of similar in the sense that there's a lot of stuff that can get done on that day. So it's very good for getting things done, very good for starting things, or at least that energy is there, let's say. Oh, wow. Oh, yes, that energy is there, let's say. And then the other thing that we have going is Uttarabhadra, right? So Uttarabhadra is a very interesting mix. I would call it, maybe the word we want to use here is integration, because you have a lot of spiritual kinds of inclinations, let's say, but at the same time, it's also very practical, and that there's a lot of real world stuff that's also very good and allowed at that time as well. So it's a very integrated, realistic form of spirituality that is in like a completion state, let's say. The next nakshatra is Revati, which is the last nakshatra. And that's the completion, total completion. It's kind of childish and fun and playful. And I guess that kind of represents an afterlife, or I don't know. That's just kind of the way that I see it.
Yeah, definitely. Uttara Bhadra is more like old, like that has like the heaviness of old age. Then Revati is more light and also business oriented.
Right,
they tend to be pretty good at business, where Uttara Bhadra is like,
It's ruled by Saturn.
Right, it's ruled by Saturn, so it's different, right? It's so it's like
a lot
the,
more serious.
Yeah, it's the serious grave.
Grave, that's the word.
There's
That's the word.
definitely
some gravity.
Gravity in Uttara Bhadra. So you were gonna tell us the story, right?
Oh yeah, there's a story. Yeah. So there's the deity that's associated with Uttara Bhadra is Ahir Budhanaya, or maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. My son, the Sanskrit scholars are putting their fingers in their ears or something.
Ahir Budhanaya.
Yeah,
that's usually how I hear it, because I don't know either. But that sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds good. So he is another form, let's say, of Anantasesha, and he is the lord of the oceans. And he's like, some people think Varuna is the lord of the ocean, but actually it's Ahir Budhanaya. And then the other's the goddess of the ocean, which is Appa. She's in charge of Purva Ashada. So those are the ocean thing that's going on there. Under the deep, under the depth. And interesting story. The first time I went to the ocean in maybe 10 to 12 years, it was on Uttara Bhadra.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought about that. I'm like, wow, I went to the ocean for the first time in like 12 years, and here it is. It's Uttarabhadra, and I'm getting to see the realm of the Lord of this place.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat. It's weird how those things work out.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely noticed that when the day comes, like quite often, it's like it's like a day to do all these things that you wanted to do, that people wanted to do, like even in groups that I've worked with. It's like the day when we can like, oh, finally we can chill, and finally we can enjoy this thing that we've been working on, or we can finally push through this thing that we were gonna, even though it's not like aggressive, but it's like there's a space that opens up
Right.
on that day to put things that you already pushed, to a certain extent, kind of thing. Like it's more like that. Of course, we're working with the backdrop of
Right. Well, that's the thing that I kind of wanted to get into.
yeah.
The Tithi and the Nakshatra are very good for certain things, but we also have to look at the fact that Mars is in Cancer and Mercury is retrograde. I tried to buy something today and it took like I think 10 minutes for me to get change back
Oh wow.
because there was some complication with this. This is Mercury retrograde. It was funny because the lady was like profusely, the cashier lady was profusely apologizing, and like they had to get the manager and the whole thing, you know. And I said, it's okay. Mercury's retrograde, you know.
Mhm.
You expect this, and they both laughed, and they're like, "Yeah, man." Like
That's funny.
they're like, yeah, that's true."
Yeah, it's like a cliche. It's
Yeah,
a cliche, but when
I think it's neat
it
that
depends what astrology is to you.
I think
Like
yeah,
if you're an emotional person, if you tapped
hmm
into energies, and most of you're receiving life in that way. Like we both happen to have moon and water signs, and we've been friends for 10 years now, and we
yeah,
can talk. We speak astrology, like all day long when we're talking. When we get together, when we talk, even before I came here, we're talking all the time on the on
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
on
Right,
the chat and stuff like that. And that's something we've had in common since the beginning, is this just sensitivity, and being able to relate it to somebody who picks it up in the same way. So obviously, it depends on where your planets are, whether you're gonna feel it quite so sensitively, or if you're even gonna pick up on it at all. Like somebody who has like an ultra strong Mercury, or other really strong things in their planet, they're probably maybe not as affected by Mercury retrograde, let's
right,
say,
right.
because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't even
I,
I
I
don't really
have I
talk.
have Mercury
Or
retrograde
you
in my
have,
chart, and the
okay.
fact of the matter is that I actually get more work done during Mercury retrograde than any other time.
Well, that's also like because like that's like when everybody else is slowed down, right? I
Right,
think
right,
maybe
right.
that has to do with that too. So it's like everybody's feeling what you're feeling in a way, so that it's like peaceful enough for you to something like that.
It could be. That's an
Something
interesting
like
way
that.
of looking at it, but that's very possible.
So
Yeah, so there's been a lot, and there's been a lot of intense energy flowing around, and it's been a lot of, all these stuff is going on at once, and it could really become a war,
yeah,
possibly
there's some intense
because of
stuff.
just, the Mars and Cancer, we'll
Yeah.
see where this goes. But the thing is that so I'll tell the story of Uttarabhadra, and that might get some clarification or understanding, let's say, of that nakshatra a little more, because there's a lot of information and subtle things kind of stuck in the stories. There's a lot of stuff in there. So the story of Uttarabhadra is that the deity, right, Ananta Sesha, he actually was the eldest. Kadru, there's two co-wives. Now Kashyapa had a lot of wives, But there was pairs of wives that were close sisters, and their children ended up being enemies, and they ended up being really jealous of each other. So the first group, and they were the eldest wives, was Diti and Aditi.
Mm.
And so those were the mothers of the Daityas and the Dana and the Adityas,
So
right?
Kashyapa is a Naga?
Kashyapa is a celestial rishi and progenitor, Prajapati.
Okay. So
what would happen was,
okay.
so he all these Prajapatis would, when they wanted to fill up the universe, they would use their siddhi and take the form of the animal that they wanted to procreate, and then lay egg or have a baby or whatever, and then the animal would come.
Okay.
So that's what they could do.
So which one of them was a Naga?
So it was Kadru was the mother of serpents.
Oh, so not Aditi.
No,
That's
yeah,
separate.
they're just. I was just giving an example.
Okay. So
I was just giving an example.
Okay. I got it.
So Kadru was the mother of the serpents.
He's the pundit. Okay, he's the storyteller.
No.
No. I'm just saying, like, I openly admit that I don't retain the details of these stories. So,
right. So in the same way,
way,
that DT and Aditi, right? These are two goddesses, and their sons are constantly at war because one is the gods and one is the demons. In the same way, no, it's good. I need to learn to clarify myself because, like, I'm so used to this. I assume, like, I forget to mention certain things. Mm-hmm. So in the same way, Kadru, who's the mother of the serpents, was what was it? She was enemy with Vinata, who's the mother of the birds.
Oh.
And so this is the cause of the whole situation, is because Kadru was jealous because Garuda was the son of Vinata and he was very powerful. Mm. And she was jealous of her co-wife, so she decided that she wanted to enslave them. And so what she did was
Garuda's mother.
Yeah,
wanted to enslave.
No, Kadru, the mother of the serpents, the mother
wanted
of the
to enslave
Garuda's mother.
Garuda's mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way they were going to do it was a wager.
Okay.
It's not enslave like how we have slavery in our mind. It's more like servitude, like you're subordinate to me. Mm-hmm. But that's the idea. It's not like slavery. It's just they use the word a lot, but the real concept.
There's a lot of that in the story. Yeah. They do a lot. They do that a lot. It's always these like, okay, now you're going to be.
You're going to be junior to me. You're going to be inferior to me, kind of stuff. It's you got these dueling wives. I guess maybe Anyway, they have these stories, so it's kind of maybe a way to explain why certain things happen in nature or stuff. So the thing is that the whole purpose, so they turned the ocean of milk. We talked about that in another story. Mm-hmm. So what came out of that was this horse named Uchai-Shrava. Mm. And so the wager was made where Kadru came up and said, oh, well, I heard that when they churned the ocean of milk, this beautiful horse came out. What color do you think it is? So Vinata said, well, since it came from the ocean of milk, it must be pure white. So Kadru said, no, I don't think that's true. I think that it's white with a black tail. So then Kadru said, let's have a wager on it. So because Vinata was smart, or I guess she was right, but Kadru, so what Kadru did was she had all her children, which were the Nagas, go into the tail of the horse and make it look black.
Mm-hmm. So she said that on purpose to manipulate the situation. She knows she was gonna trick them by what you're about to say.
Yeah, exactly. So she told the kids, you go in the tail and make it look black. And so Ananta and a few other more, I guess, high-minded Nagas said, this is bogus. We don't want to do that. That's wrong. That's cheating. Mm-hmm. So this kind of lets you know a little bit about serpent nature. And she cursed all her children to die by burning in fire. So then the serpents became scared and they agreed to do it. But Ananta, as soon as his mother said that, he was like, screw this. I don't want nothing to do with this lady. She's psycho. Mm-hmm. So he just went off. And maybe she was a Slaisha, right? I mean, she's the
I got
mother
a
of serpents, right?
Shlesha in my chart. No, yeah, I mean, yeah, basically. Yeah.
It's just a joke, but
no offense, Shlesha's not.
yeah.
I got a Shlesha in my chart too, so.
So
Yeah.
she went. She went to. You see, this is how we talk in astrology.
This is yeah. So like.
So she went. She went to. She. So Ananta. He's like, screw this. I'm out of here. He went to do tapasya. He did austerities, and Lord Brahma came. Austerities were so severe. Lord Brahma came, and he offered him any boon that he desired. So Anantasesha said, "May I be filled, always content and filled with happiness and bliss." And so then Lord Brahma said, "Can you please?" He had requested that Ananta hold the world up so that it becomes steady. And this is in the system. There's a Bhu Mandala, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Mount Meru on top. The Bhu Mandala is the Earth disk, and then there's a Mount Meru in the middle, and then there's the subterranean realms, and then Ananta is holding the disk up so that it balances as it's floating in the water underneath.
So where does Vishnu fit into?
Well, the idea is that that's a kind of way of looking at the cosmos.
Okay.
And then another thing is that Ananta is considered to be sitting in this cosmic ocean in which Vishnu is laying on top of him. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a dual role. This stuff is very like subtle and
yeah,
transcendental and stuff. So
it's considered to be one of the most difficult nakshatras to understand.
Right?
Because there's a lot of dichotomy in there. It's also a mutable or dual sign, like they call it, ruled by water. So, and its symbols is the two fish going in different directions. One is going up, one is going down. So it's like very deeply the potential for like deeply spiritual people, but then also it's like a vision of the underworld or like the undercurrents of the world that can allow a person to just get what they want out of it. Like just some examples of come to mind. Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Has moon in Uttara Bhadra. In the Claire Nakti video that she talks about the porn stars. People with moon in Uttara Bhadra have they were the highest number.
They're using statistical analysis of astrology.
So you guys, if you haven't already checked out Claire Nakti, like totally check her out. We love her. Like it's
she's just, really good at
she's taking it to a whole nother level. So there's there's just like potential for there's a freedom. There's like an innate freedom in there where like material, like he said, what's the word they use?
Integration.
Mercury is retrograde and combust.
Right.
So the words are, I got to dig a little bit to the integration.
Yeah.
So like meaning spiritual and material life are not separate for us.
Right.
I can, that part of Uttara Bhadra I completely embody or relate to. Like that's very true for me. To me, just I don't have to separate my spiritual life. I am who I am, and I, that's my goal. Obviously, I'm not perfected in that, but like that's what I go back to. My emotional inclination is to show myself as a regular person, and to be just a regular person with all the defects and all the stuff, and also feel like a divine child of God who is extremely loved by Krishna and participating in his Leela, also, even though I'm this fallen soul or whatever you want to call it, like completely material also, like, and just with all my.
And learning how to integrate the two of them.
Yeah.
Because that's how you can actually accomplish that spiritual unification, is learning to integrate what you have.
Yeah. So, and then, like the story about Hirbanya really, really, excuse me, like he came from, all his other siblings are still in Ashleisha, like
Yeah.
they're still in the Ashleisha department. He's the only one that has this position. So, there's something about that too. And again, doesn't mean necessarily spiritual. And then another thing on that point that I wanted to touch was that through astrology, we can't tell where a person is on their spiritual path.
Right.
Like it doesn't define the soul. So like even they say that the sun is the soul, they use this, but what it is more the identity.
Right.
So like in Bhagavatam, it goes through the elements, and the top thing is the identity, the ego, but the ego without.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff that people use the word ego for. So the better word maybe to use these days would be identity, because people are like ego, but that's not exactly what we're talking about. It's more like identity, self-identity.
Yeah. So the identity carries everything else, So when we are something, then everything else. So that in that way, the sun is the soul, but it's more the identity.
Right.
So but the main point is that there's plenty of Uttara Bhadra people who are not spiritual at all, because it's going to depend, who are not, okay. Yeah. Who are not, it's not a good word. Who are not spiritually inclined, who are not into spiritual life, who are not talking about Krishna or Jesus or anything like that. Like it can manifest in so many ways. So, just want to keep that in mind. It's like if I can pull up a computer and look at your chart, obviously whatever I say to you is not describing you as the unlimited being that you are.
Right.
Like, there's no way, it's just.
Yeah, no, we can only really describe the senses, the mind, the intelligence, the false ego, and all these other kinds of things. And then it's somewhere locked in there is something that's very deeper, stuff like that.
Right. So luckily we are, everything is with our spiritual practice, with bhakti at the core, and in our mind, or in the background, or in the whatever forefront, but it's always there. Point is, so even regardless, when we're talking to you from the basis of wanting you to proceed in your bhakti path or your spiritual path, or whatever path you want, and encouraging you that, and in that, regardless, but it's not limited by your chart. That's just what I want to make, really clear,
Right.
So what else?
I think that was very in depth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's quite in depth.
Okay. Well, I want to say a couple more things.
Oh, sure.
Well, just because, like the last few days, I didn't want to come on the video, and we kind of have this kind of thing where Juggy is the steady video guy, and sometimes I come on, sometimes I don't. But in particular, with all of this turmoil, okay, so transiting Saturn is 2 degrees from my Mars right now, and transiting Mars is 2 degrees from my Saturn. Did I say that right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been emotionally intense for me. It's been like unbearably intense. If any of you follow me on Facebook, and this also speaks to the day, because I say what I have to say, and just combined with other things, in my chart, like I feel my feelings, and I have learned to be true to that, even though it's not convenient or pretty or even easy, or at the moment, because it's not hard. It's hard to deal with the emotions, but um, I'm feeling better. Just getting, yeah, I just got here too, getting used to the new job, getting used to everything, and finding my place in all of this, with again the backdrop of this difficult thing that everybody's going through. Like, they don't even have this exact conjunction like me, but and yet I'm getting all these messages. Oh my god, what's going on? Help me! Like, what like, this is so intense, and because it's just overall intense, we are potentially at the brink of war. This is this is it's a very intense time, and we know for a fact that something revolutionary is going to happen in the next 18 months. Like that, we don't know what. Obviously, we talked about that before. So there's that, knowing that it could be big, it could be something, but that's not to be scared, like, it's not
Well, you
about being
need
scared.
it's something that I've been recently learning that you need conflict to have resolution. It's true,
That came up for us too.
You need to have conflict to have resolution. Like this world is sitting, this country, this society is sitting with a lot of stuff hiding underneath the surface. And it just hasn't been addressed yet. And we're not going to move on as a world, as a nation, as a society until that is brought up to the surface and we learn how to communicate better, because this divide and conquer thing is just going to continue forever until we learn to get over it. And that's what's keeping us apart as a people. But it's because we're not communicating.
You think it could get better?
I think it could get better. I think, you know, this exact combination in this exact same place happened 500 years ago.
Oh, 500 years ago.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, there was a number of things that happened. And there was the Renaissance.
Hmm.
There was a whole lot of stuff that happened. And the thing is that there was also a very intense war type thing too. There was a lot of conflict, but what ended up happening was after that was the Enlightenment. First, they had the Renaissance, then they had a lot of religious strife, they had a lot of ideological fighting going on. There was a split in the church at the exact time when it was this thing, and there was a 30 years war in Germany, and there was all kinds of stuff. But what happened afterwards, people were like, we got to stop being with this kind of hating each other thing. And what happened was the Enlightenment, and people started to really get into whole new ideas about the world, and you know what I mean, and it led to a lot of ideas like freedom and things like that, which have yet to fully manifest, but it was the roots of those things, right? Individual liberty and all these kind of things were born after that conflict, because people are like, we just can't do this anymore.
I wonder how that lines up with the Bhakti movement of Mahaprabhu.
Right. So he
that was
is
also 500
yeah,
years
exactly
ago.
around the same time.
And they say that this is the golden age, like, or we're coming into the golden age.
Right.
Like, I've heard different things, right?
This might be the thing that makes it so we go from there to, step, there's a conflict and then it creates a step that goes to the next realm.
Yeah. So, this project and the things that are associated with this project, we have a university, we have all these community projects going on. It's also riding that wave in a way. It's also like knowing that that's coming, and that we all feel, we all came together, the people on this team, kind of saying, I want to do this. And then, oh, wait, I've always wanted to do that. Oh, wait, oh, me too. Like these, so, so it's like this collective consciousness thing, where we feel called to do this thing that clearly wouldn't work without the paradigm shift in a way, because this is like unheard of. Like nobody's really done this to the level that we want to do it, and to the transparency that we want to do it. Like on purpose, we're doing this like this. It's not, you know what I mean? Like we're being casual, and a lot of it, a part of it is that, we have an event here in Dallas coming up August 3rd, and it's going to be also engaging people to bringing them into the team. Like this is not just like, um, this is our business, come and pay us, and like we're not even doing that. Like it's not the point. Like we want to teach others, we want to enable others to read, to learn astrology, so that they can also teach it, so that they can, if they want to be leaders in their community, encourage them to be leaders, in different ways, engage them in this same work, which, it's a little bit revolutionary. It's like a little bit like lofty, like this is the kind of idea that I spent the past 12 years since I've been a holistic entrepreneur, telling people about, and that's always the feedback that I get, like, wow, that's lofty. Oh my God, you're right. Like, how are you going to do that? And then I meet up with these people, Jaggi I knew, but like with somebody, with Nityananda, who is older and has the position and the know-how to do it, and he also wants to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here.
We all kind of feel called,
right,
to do this, and like
right.
I've been wanting to do this for like 12 years.
Right.
I was called to do my part in this.
Me too, 12 years. So
and him the same thing. And it's like we all, we've all kind of been called to join forces. And there's other people out there. Maybe you're sitting out there right now. Maybe this video is a year old for you. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. And you're just looking right now. Our channel has 53 subscribers, and when you look at it, it could be 1 million or 2 million. But the thing is that maybe you're feeling the call too, because we want to change this world, and we're tired of settling for second best or like just some kind of fake thing. And we really want to change the world, and we're really trying, and that's the whole point.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, I guess that pretty much covers it for now, probably.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. Tara Badra in Pisces.
Yeah.
And I guess so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Or, I think I'll be here. Yeah. I think I'm feeling up to it, so.
Okay.
See you guys soon. Radhe Radhe.